Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app from the Google Play Store or from the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the word Spot Media. Motorists with outstanding traffic tickets could find themselves in jail when the recently extended amnesty ends. Effective January 14, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the government will be getting tough on motorists who continue to flout the road code. Mr. Chuck made this disclosure at this morning's opening of 2 courtrooms at the traffic court at Sabina Park in Kingston. He added that some motorists will be held at the Jamaica Defence Force headquarters at Up Park Camp.
And I've spoken to Major General Rocky Mead that because the jails have limited space, I need some space at Up Park Camp. Red fence. So kindly take steps now, Major General Rocky Mead, to put in place some detention centers for those traffic violators who feel they can get away. And if you're in Hanover, Westmoreland, or St. Mary or Portland, and there's no space for you in the jail cells over there, you will be brought to Up Park Camp until you can be dealt with in the traffic courts. The message has to be sent to all and sundry that the road code must be obeyed.
That at the end of the amnesty, persons who challenge their traffic ticket and are found guilty will face the full brunt of the law. Mr. Chuck pointed out that there are 100,000 outstanding warrants for traffic violators. The Justice Minister has requested that Chief Justice assign additional judges and put in place a plan to convene more night courts. Meanwhile, head of the Traffic Division, SSP Calvin Allen, highlighted how many persons have been prosecuted since the start of the year.
Prosecuted over 450,000 breaches of the Road Traffic Act since the start of 2017. And as I said on a particular program, that if we had more resources at various corridors, I could easily well be reporting a doubling of this figure, especially based on what is happening on the road. However, there are signs of encouragement for us, because as we speak, we are recording some 17.5% less reduction in road fatalities. In actual figures, up to yesterday, 59 less lives have been lost on the nation's streets. And I want to come.
Moravian pastor Rupert Clark has pleaded guilty to 2 counts of having sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 16 years old. The complainants are both sisters. Clark entered the guilty plea in the St. Elizabeth Circuit Court yesterday. Clark had appeared in court for the hearing of an application by the prosecution to transfer the sexual offense matter from the St. Elizabeth Circuit Court to the Home Circuit Court in Kingston. Justice Martin Gale reportedly granted the application for the matter to be transferred to Kingston when Clark's lawyer, Deborah Martin, asked for her client to re-enter a plea. That's when Clark changed his plea from not guilty to guilty on 2 counts of having sex with a person under 16 years old. The police report that in December last year, a team was on patrol in the community near Santa Cruz when they observed a parked car that aroused their suspicion. They went to investigate and reportedly found the pastor in a compromising position with a child. He was immediately taken into custody. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has given more details on the reasons he has harshly criticized the Jamaican Bar Association, JAMBAR, over its recommendation for the Prime Minister to advertise the post of Chief Justice. Mr. Chuck has explained that the consultation process involves a wide pool of persons, and so advertising remains unnecessary. TVJ's O'Shane Masters has the details.
The Minister blasted the association after it published a letter sent to the Prime Minister asking for the post to be advertised before the current Chief Justice retires in January. Mr. Chuck said the Constitution gives the Prime Minister the authority to fill the post after consultation with the opposition leader. He gave details on the consultation process and argues that it has been wide enough to get adequate recommendations for candidates.
To the best of my knowledge, the Prime Minister is consulting with a wide number of persons. I know he has asked, and I've encouraged him to consult as widely as possible so you get the best. I've even asked Mark Golding, who would he suggest? I've even spoken to the leader of the opposition. So to the extent that a wide consultation will be engaged in before an appointment is made.
Meanwhile, the Jamaican Bar Association has reacted with disappointment at the position taken by Justice Minister Delroy Chuck. JAMBAR President Jacqueline Cummings sought to explain that the letter sent to Prime Minister Andrew Holness was not an attempt to take away from the powers and functions of the Prime Minister. She explained what led the association to write the letter.
I'm very surprised and alarmed because this letter was not intended to in any way usurp the Prime Minister's authority or to in any way disrupt the process of consultation with the leader of opposition. It was just basically heads up, this is coming up, this is what suggestion we suggest we should do. We want to increase the greater independence of the judiciary. We want to have a lot more transparency in the process. You know, we're giving you a suggestion. That's basically what it was. And it arose out of a discussion I had with the current Chief Justice about realizing that she's about to retire and that there's no one yet understood in her. Also that discussion, I decided we should write a letter to the Prime Minister to say to him, hey, the thing is coming up, we don't know what's happening, time is against us, let's start the process.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Traffic police are this afternoon warning persons who continue to pull off dangerous stunts on motorcycles. This after a man was killed when a motorcyclist lost control of his motorcycle along Gordon Boulevard in St. Catherine on Sunday. The motorcyclist was reportedly performing a stunt when the incident occurred. Head of the Police Traffic Division, Senior Superintendent Calvin Allen, told TVJ News that the cyclist could be slapped with manslaughter charges and other breaches of the Road Traffic Act.
That persons of these standing would be far more sensible in how they operate, especially from the perspective of setting the right example for others to follow in obeying the law and operating in a very safe manner. That was not so, and so we have this situation to deal with.
Allen added that stricter penalties are coming for those who continue to do stunts riding on the public thoroughfare.
Engaging the divisional officer for that particular corridor to be given that sort of attention, because we have also learned that it is an activity that goes on regularly in that area involving these same individuals.
The parliamentary opposition is expecting a speedy debate on a motion it tabled on Tuesday in the House of Representatives calling for a review of the passage of the National Identification and Registration Bill. The bill, which was passed last week in the House of Representatives, will result in the establishment of the National Identification System. According to the opposition, there were breaches of Parliament's standing orders in the passage of the legislation. Leader of Opposition Business, Philip Powell, says he expects the motion will be handled urgently.
Matter of urgency in the motion. So we're expecting that next week when we meet, the Parliament will debate this motion and will agree for it to be sent to the Standing Orders Committee for further consideration. I believe that the breaches are so egregious that they ought to be treated in this way, and we're going to be insisting on it.
Security across the country continues to be a major sore point for many companies and individuals. But one company, the Guardsman Group, is seeking to bring a level of assurance to companies that they will be protected. Speaking at the company's 40th anniversary service recently, Executive Chairman Kenny Benjamin said since the start of operations, the company has been vanguard for the safety of the country's citizens and businesses.
We work hard to eliminate this area of concern from the minds of our clients, and our strength is based on a cadre of over 7,500 dedicated professionals, efficient team members, over 40 years of experience, and unmatched technical prowess.
Finance Minister Audley Shaw described the group as a trendsetter when it comes to security.
Guardsman has over the years demonstrated high levels of excellence and dependability in their performance. And they really are the leaders in the industry in terms of dependability, in terms of quality. And I think that it is said, you know, that in the pursuit of excellence, one person can make a difference. I think Guardsman has demonstrated that in the pursuit of excellence, one company can make a difference.
Over 50 students were given awards for outstanding performances in this year's GSAT, CSEC, and CAPE examinations by the Board of Supervision under the Ministry of Local Government. The awards ceremony was held earlier this week at the Mona Visitors Lodge and Conference Center in Mona, where Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie praised the recipients for overcoming adverse situations to achieve.
You have to study under street lights, using candles, using cell phone and flashlight to study. Some of you live in communities where gunshot was the order of the day. One of your recipients comes from my constituency, and I read a letter that he sent to me which brought tears to my eyes.
He notes that some of the students were assisted and monitored in different ways by officers of the Human Services Department of the Board of Supervision. The board, which was established under the Poor Relief Act, is mandated to oversee the delivery of poor relief services provided by municipal corporations. Among the awardees were 8 GSAT recipients, 34 CSEC students, and 16 CAPE students. The theme for the ceremony was Transforming Children Through Education. In news overseas, members of the United Nations Security Council have strongly condemned North Korea's successful launch of an intercontinental ballistic missile during an emergency meeting in New York on Wednesday. During the meeting, U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, said the rogue regime's actions have brought the world closer to war. The details from the CNN.
Yesterday, the North Korean regime made a choice. It chose to feed its nuclear aggression. It chose to thumb its nose at the civilized world. It chose to challenge the patience of a world united against its recklessness. And with this choice comes a critical decision point for the rest of the world. The world has responded powerfully to North Korea's outrageous and lawless actions. This council has taken unprecedented measures to stop North Korea's development of a nuclear-tipped ballistic missile. We have leveled the most impactful sanctions that any country has experienced in a generation. The dictator of North Korea made a choice yesterday that brings the world closer to war, not farther from it. We have never sought war with North Korea, and still today, we do not seek it. If war does come, it will be because of continued acts of aggression like we witnessed yesterday.
In sports, the 2 members of Jamaica College's management staff who appeared before a 4-member disciplinary panel of the Inter-Secondary School Sports Association, ISSA, on Thursday have escaped match suspension and should be on the sidelines this Friday when JC squares off against Stets at the Manning Cup finals.
To Wednesday's hearing, Dr. Walton Small told TVJ Sports that the possible sanctions for the JC alleged verbal abuse of the referees after the Flow Super Cup semi-final against Kingston College could face from a written apology to a touchline ban. Well, after the 3-hour disciplinary hearing attended by the 2 named officials, Ian Forbes and assistant coach Andrew Peart, as well as JC principal Wayne Robinson, the lighter sanction was applied. According to a release from ISSA, after careful consideration, read the behavior of the JC officials, the 4-member panel, which included ISSA's president Dr. Walton Small, ruled that they apologize in writing to the match officials. ISSA went further, indicating that JC should ensure that in the future their protestations are not as such that the authority of the match officials is undermined and competitions run by ISSA are not tainted by such behavior. Chairman of the Manning Cup, Dr. O'Neill Ankle, spoke with TVJ Sports after the hearing, noting that it was a cordial meeting and JC accepted the decision of the panel.
It was remade, so we, as a body, definitely don't tolerate the behavior of the officials from JC, and we want to make that known and clear to the entire Jamaica.
The JC team officials who were named in the referee's report on the ground that they verbally abused them were manager Ian Forbes and assistant coach Andrew Peart. JC's principal Wayne Robinson accepted the decision of the disciplinary panel and affirmed that JC respect the decision of the referees.
We abide by the rules of the game and we stand by the referees in all their decisions. In other words, the referees' decision is final in all sports, and that's what we teach our boys, that's what we inculcate in our boys, and it's part of what we share with all our stakeholders. When the referee rules, that's final. And so we move on from that. We now prepare ourselves for Fridays.
It is now left to be seen whether the JFF will accept the decision of the ISA disciplinary panel, which also included the Costa Cup chairman Laverne Wright and the principal of Cloncarthy, Hasley Cameron. For TVJ Sports, I am Denise Walters.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.